Police officers! What's your name? Okay, lovely.
Jesse, we've got before, haven't we? Yeah. So the time is 6.
A package from the U.S. landed at Stansted Airport. The label read, "Premium weight loss milk, daily use." There was nothing special about the outside. A clean box, a valid barcode, all the paperwork. But when the border guards opened it, instead of nutritional powder, they found tightly packed plastic bags, and a quick test changed everything. In that moment, the question popped up. Who is behind this shipment? But that question led them into a maze larger than they could have imagined, where seemingly innocent faces were links in a smuggling network that was silent, ingenious, and terrifyingly dangerous. There were no gunshots, no masked gangs, just regular arrivals of packages, brief phone calls, and ordinary residential addresses used as transit points. And then, as the investigation unfolded, a surprising detail emerged. A fitness trainer, known for his healthy lifestyle, had a direct connection to the mysterious packages. A web had been uncovered, but not in the way you might expect. Can you guess which link brought the whole system crashing down? Nottingham, a sleepy city in the heart of England, where the quaint streets and brightly lit gyms seem to have nothing to do with drugs, is a sophisticated smuggling network operating quietly under the guise of everyday life. At the heart of the operation is Davante James, a 29-year-old boxing coach who is a familiar face in the local sports community. He is known for his positive outlook, his talk of health, discipline, and inspiration. No one would have guessed that the gym he runs is where illegal consignments are split, cash is pooled, and drug shipments are planned. Davante is surrounded by 8 other people, each with a normal story to hide their role. An office worker named Jesse uses his access to create fake shipping labels. A personal trainer who seems to be just counting beats, but is actually collecting shipping addresses. The manual workers, for a few £100s, were willing to put their names on the packages that were never opened. They were not the typical boss and henchman type, but a flexible, well-defined group, like an efficient assembly line. Each was a cog so well-oiled that no one suspected anything. To their neighbors, they were still people who went to work, came home, and went on holiday. Nothing more. But to the police, they were cogs in a multi-million-pound drug machine. It all began quietly in early 2023. Not with gunshots, not with secret meetings under dim lights, but with the first package from the United States, cleverly disguised as premium bodybuilding milk. Then came a second, then a third, each time flawless, without a trace of suspicion. And then the machine began to run smoothly. The reason was simple. Methamphetamine, also known as crystal meth, was an incredibly lucrative commodity. Just a kilo of the concentrate could fetch hundreds of thousands of pounds on the black market. Davante James and his team quickly realized that they had a route no one was looking at. Legal goods, legal shipping, normal addresses, but inside was a poison that was slowly destroying a generation. They used fake names to send the goods, used sports companies to disguise themselves, and above all, recruited people willing to lend their addresses for a few £100s at a time. Many of the recipients had no idea or no desire of what they were aiding. For the conspirators, it was perfect. The risks were spread, the evidence dispersed, and the price of silence was incredibly low. For them, each package that passed through customs unsuspected was a win. A gamble that didn't require guns, just the right paperwork and a few forged letters. In May 2023, a shipment arrived at Stansted Airport that looked like nothing special. Fitness labels, valid paperwork, clear barcodes, but it wasn't the shape of the package that made customs officers suspicious, but the faint chemical smell that wafted out when the box was opened. A deep examination was carried out immediately. The results couldn't have been more obvious. Nearly a kilogram of pure methamphetamine, enough to distribute thousands of microdoses. It wasn't the only shipment, it was the first link in the chain. Nottinghamshire police sprang into action, working with the border agency and launching an operation codenamed Continental. They knew that if there was one such package, there was more. And sure enough, similar shipments, all cleverly disguised, were tracked down. Some were packaged as diet shakes, others were stuffed into helmets, sports equipment, even mini sofas and baby boxes. In total, more than 40 packages were identified, with a combined weight of 67 kilograms of methamphetamine seized, worth more than 7 million pounds at street value. There was also around 70,000 pounds of cannabis, pressed into thin cakes and hidden inside cardboard linings. It wasn't just drugs that the police found. They also collected a system of invoices, recipient lists, addresses, and shipping records from international courier companies. Each shipment had a common thread. The sender was a fake name, the company was fake, but the delivery address was real, and it was rotated to avoid being noticed. Some people lent their addresses multiple times without knowing it, while others picked up the packages themselves and disappeared. In some cases, residential dash cams captured couriers grabbing packages, rushing to their cars and driving away within minutes. More dramatically, one shipment was intercepted at a central distribution station when the system detected a duplicate tracking number, a small oversight that was enough to start unraveling the chain. The shipments didn't arrive all at once, but were spread out over 18 months, making it harder to trace. But little by little, with persistence and advanced data analysis, the authorities pieced together the entire network. A package, an address, a name, all the pieces of a puzzle began to fit together until the masterminds emerged. And when investigators realized that many of the delivery addresses were linked directly to a gym in Nottingham, they knew they were getting closer to the central hub, where every package, every phone call, every cash transaction had begun. A network doesn't require gunfire. It requires time, paperwork, and silence. But this time, that silence has been broken. The investigation began not with a flashy arrest, but with seemingly insignificant details. A duplicate waybill number, a mismatched consignee, a dash cam showing someone picking up a package and then leaving in silence. Nottinghamshire police and border force didn't knock on the door. They watched. They quietly tracked down dozens of addresses that had received suspicious shipments, examined every international shipping trace, and reconstructed the journey of each package, from California to London, then from the depot to Nottingham. A complex picture emerged. CCTV footage from neighborhood cameras showed duplicate faces, some at 3 different delivery locations in the space of 2 weeks. A once trusted courier system had become a silent drug conduit, where an insider, with access to the system, created fake waybill labels that made illegal shipments look legitimate. That person was Jesse Colo, an office worker, seemingly innocent, but a key link in the legitimization process. Cross-checking the shipping system revealed dozens of shipping labels matching the names of non-existent companies. The police began compiling a list of bank accounts that received the money, all of which traced back to one man, Davante James. In the group's tight circle, he was the organizer, the collector, and the final decision maker. They didn't use regular text messages. Everything happened over encrypted messaging apps. But one of the lower-ranking members, when subpoenaed and confronted with the evidence, started talking. And from that confession, the entire chain began to be identified. The couriers, the recipients, the paperwork preparers, and even those who seemed to be innocently lending addresses. With persistence and sophisticated investigative tactics, the authorities turned a silent network into a clear diagram, with every name, every role, every shipment marked. And when everything was clear, there was only one final step: to destroy the system from within, at the exact moment when they were unaware that their every move was being closely monitored. Unlike the usual street gangs with their overt violence and intimidation, the network run by Davante James is so sophisticated and quiet that on the surface, you might think they were a group of young businessmen dealing in imported sporting goods. Each member of the group has a clear role, no one doing it for anyone else. The person in charge of receiving the goods, showing up at the right time, at the right place. The person in charge of printing the shipping labels, using an internal system that is discreet. The distributor, knowing the schedule and always staying away from security cameras. And the stash, always having a safe place to store the goods before moving on. It all runs like a mini logistics company, except that the main product is meth, and the invoices are fake. Devontae James is the mastermind behind the whole thing. He not only gives orders, but also knows how to keep each member harmless. Money is divided up according to rank, everyone gets a share, but no one knows the whole picture. Trips to Thailand, Greece, the Dominican Republic, or Central America were paid for in cash. No bank trail, no weapons, no threats, just silence, sophistication, and absolute precision in every step of the operation. And for more than a year and a half, that silence fooled every control system until one small code tag went awry, and the whole system began to collapse. One morning in late November 2024, after nearly 18 months of covert investigation under the codename Operation Continental, Nottinghamshire police were out in force. Armed with an urgent search warrant, they split into teams and set out to target locations across Nottingham and the surrounding areas. Each location had been closely monitored in advance, from a small flat in Clifton to a quiet two-story house in Arnold, and especially a popular gym in the city center, where it all began. There, 29-year-old Devontae James, a boxing coach and ringleader, was holding a morning training class in the lobby in front of dozens of students. He did not resist, just stared at the floor in silence, as if he had known this day would come. At the same time,
Just come in there, seconds. Right, Devontae, we're from Notts Police. Yeah. Okay. You're going to be arrested, okay, on suspicion of conspiracy to import Class A. Okay.
Rakeem Thomas was arrested at a flat in Forest Fields as he was getting ready to get in his car to go to work. Lamar Taylor was arrested in the car park of a shopping center where he often met clients. Jesse Colo, who printed the fake shipping labels, was arrested in his office at a courier company in Beeston.
And again. And again. Police officers! Hands on it. What the hell? Yeah, bang back. Bang back. Close one, Nash, you got it? What's your name?
There was no time to hide or destroy any documents. Police seized phones, laptops, cash, receipts, bank cards, and even fake labels, still fresh from the printer. More than 40 packages were traced back to their delivery addresses, and now the people behind each name are on the arrest list.
Lamont, ain't it? What are you doing? Come on, let's go in. The officer's in.
Subjects has answered the door.
Let's just pop through it for a second.
On the 7th of May 2025, at Nottingham Crown Court, the veil of silence was officially lifted. Devontae James was sentenced to 17 years in prison for his role in masterminding and running the entire network that smuggled methamphetamine and cannabis from the US to the UK. Rakeem Thomas, in charge of distribution and delivery, was sentenced to 11 years and 6 months. Lamar Taylor, a courier assistant, was sentenced to 7 years and 6 months. Jesse Colo, who created the fake labels inside the delivery system, was sentenced to 5 years and 4 months. The rest of the group, including individuals who lent addresses or received deliveries, were given sentences ranging from 3 years to community orders with community service. In court, the prosecutor showed more images taken from the defendants' personal phones: holidays in Thailand, swimming pools in Santorini, Rolex watches worth tens of thousands of pounds, and limited edition shoes bought with cash. Nothing could have been more evident than luxury bought with silence and danger. Nottinghamshire police said they were freezing the accounts and confiscating any assets derived from drug profits under the Proceeds of Crime Act. Ultimately, the verdict is more than just legal punishment. It's also a wake-up call for anyone who thought that the right paperwork could conceal a sophisticated crime. The inanimate parcels, which had passed silently through thousands of miles and multiple layers of checks, were finally intercepted. But it was the silence that was most terrifying. There were no gunshots, no breathless chases, just legal labels, carefully printed invoices, and ordinary people, either too trusting or too greedy, who became the cogs in a criminal system that operated in silence. The ringleaders had no need to hide their faces, no need to hide in the shadows. It was society, through negligence and unconscious compromise, that had allowed them to survive for nearly 2 years without being detected. A gym, a residential address, an office worker, all seemingly unrelated, were the foundations of a multi-million-pound drug machine. And then, when justice was called, could we be confident that the fallout had been dealt with? Or are there still echoes of gullibility, of bottomless greed, and of a society that is gradually losing the ability to distinguish between right and wrong behind those sentences? How many more people will lend a hand for just a few £100s? How many harmless packages are still being quietly received every day? Like, share, and comment to discuss. What do you think has helped this network survive for nearly 2 years without anyone speaking up?